we're live.
Hello, everybody. We are live with the very first live stream for Blaze, the inaugural edition 2025. I'm Jeremy, the host of the Bitcoin Cash podcast and one of the Blaze co-organizers. Jet is hosting the stream. We also have Jonathan, the visionary behind Blaze. Say hi, Jonathan. No, he's on mute. He is there, I swear. And
there, hi.
And also Nirain and Carl have joined us on the live stream, but we will also have a link to that, which is live on the Dora Hacks page if you want to join, and maybe Jet can also put it in the Twitter comments. Feel free to jump in at any time so that you can ask questions or be part of the stream. But of course, please try and make sure your room is quiet before you do that so that you don't disrupt what we're doing. So welcome to BCH Blaze, which is a Bitcoin Cash hackathon inspiring innovation through competition. We've gathered up a bunch of funding in the ecosystem to offer a hackathon with prizes and also a bunch of BCH expert mentors. And the plan is to help people join the BCH ecosystem and launch new projects, because BCH has a lot of potential and it's very exciting, but at the same time, it's also can be a little bit difficult to get into because the ecosystem is still small. It's not necessarily obvious where to go, who to talk to, how to start building, how everything fits together. Obviously, we're at the forefront of sort of technological innovation. So for all of those reasons, it can be a bit hard to get to grips with it, especially if you're not very involved in the BCH community already. And we're hoping to offer Blaze to fix that. So today's stream is the first part of it, starting today's Saturday, the 18th of October at 2 p.m. UTC. And then we have a stream every 2 p.m. UTC on Saturdays from now until the end of November, which will include workshops and the actual hackathon itself, except for the November the 8th, which is at 6 p.m. UTC instead, Callisti's workshop. But if you're hearing this on the recording, you can set those reminders in your calendar and we'll go over that. So there's no experience needed with Bitcoin Cash for anybody to be part of it. You do not need to be a programmer. You do not need to be into coding. If you are, that's great and that helps, but it's not required. You also don't need to know anything about cryptocurrency. If you are interested and excited about building the future of money or the potential of joining the ecosystem in any way or with any skill set, that's fine. Hackathon team needs more than just programmers. You've got to have product designers, you've got to have graphics creators, you've got to have marketing and sales and everything else that goes into making a great product. So it truly is open to absolutely everyone. A quick look at the agenda for today. We're going to talk about the schedule of how Blaze is going to work. We're going to walk through how you register and join a team. We're going to talk about the workshops that we're going to be doing. We're going to talk about how the live streams and the hacking period itself is going to work. We're going to talk about the prizes and bounties. That's the main thing that everyone cares about. We've got further opportunities to touch on, and then we will also take questions as well. If you are on the live stream and you have a question, feel free to jump in with it, but you'll also have an opportunity at the end, and we'll finish with some final notes. So very excitingly, on the next slide, we also have a cash stamp from one of our sponsors, Steve Thurman. So the first person to whip out their Selene wallet and scan this QR code will be able to grab some free BCH courtesy of Cash Stamps, which is a very cool project by Steve Thurman and some others at cash. So we have a few of these that we're going to be giving away on the live stream, and it's basically fastest finger first. So give that a try. And if you don't have a Selene wallet already, you might want to head onto the App Store or the Play Store and download one to try and get in on those free Satoshis. Okay, Jonathan, do you mind saying a few words about Blaze and how you came up with the idea and what you're hoping that we can get out of it as an ecosystem?
Sure. So Blaze is a hackathon. It's a very actionable thing, and it kind of was designed to work in contrast to the Bliss conference. So with Bliss, we are celebrating achievements, and with Blaze, we are creating such achievements. If you come to Blaze, that's a way for you to get a foot into the ecosystem. If you do well, there might be job opportunities, might be investor opportunities. There's plenty of value to be had. Not to mention that you actually get to play with very cool technology before it goes live.
Amazing. And can you give a little color about the Layla upgrade? This is the lock-in that sort of underpins the whole thing. Maybe just for people who aren't familiar with how that works, give a brief run through of that.
Sure. So once per year or so, Bitcoin Cash upgrades. We have a lock-in date in November, and we have an upgrade date in May. And for next year, there's an upgrade that's called Layla, or we call it Layla. And what's going to happen so far, what to know, is that 4 chips are going to get activated, 4 big changes. The probably most actionable one for the Blaze hackathon of these are the loops. So it's now going to be possible to do loops, iterate over data set, and work with things in a much, much more manageable way in script than it was before. Yeah, I don't have the list with the router. One of them raises the commitment size, so you can store a little bit more of your contract metadata in that local transferable contract state. Yeah, one of them is up invoke that lets you run functions. There's a lot of things that are happening next year. It's lots of opportunities, things to play with.
Yeah, it's a pretty big upgrade, all things considered. So it's functions, loops, Bitwise, and pay to script, and we'll touch briefly on that as well. But the idea is that in November, everything has been prepared and agreed by the community, November 15th, which is also the first day of the Blaze hackathon. So you'll be the first ones to be able to jump in and trial these new functionality on ChipNet, which is like the test preparation network, and we can build products and services, and then hopefully Blaze will help to incubate those projects and really give you support so that by the time of Bliss, which occurs in May 15th, when the actual upgrade goes live onto mainnet, then you'll have a full product to launch at that time. So Blaze is an opportunity to build in a sort of rapid iterative development, a prototype for a product or a service based around BCH and using this new technology. And then you have obviously over the next few months the chance to iterate on it, work on it behind the scenes. Maybe we can help you get some investment, things like that. And then by Bliss in May of 2026 to do like a full launch, V1.0 is kind of the idea. So we have here the schedule. So this has a full breakdown of how everything is going to work. The key thing to note is, like I mentioned before, that Saturdays at 2 p.m. UTC is when almost all of the live streams are. So today is just the information session to help people get to grips with how it's all going to work. But then the next 3 weeks, we will have workshops. So we have 3 BCH experts who will be running a 2-hour stream similar to this one, but they'll be showing off how they build apps on BCH, taking questions about, how things could be built or different ideas that might be possible, or how to get set up, how to get started, where to find more resources, all those kind of things from BCH experts. So we have Matthew Hjerkins, next week. The week after we have Mainnet Pat, and the week after we have Callisti. So that takes us to the 8th of November. And then the week after that is the 15th of November. That will be when the actual hackathon starts at 2 p.m. also in the afternoon, UTC time. And we'll do a live stream there where we, open the event. We talk to the judges a little bit. We give any, final last words of encouragement or help anybody who still is looking for team members or so forth to get linked up. And then the hackathon will begin. There's 8 days for people to hack, starting from that Saturday until the next Sunday at 2 p.m. So it's not like some other hackathons you might have heard about, which are very intensive sprints. Sometimes people do 24 hours or 48 hours. People drink a lot of energy drinks. They stay up all night and they feverishly try and put something together. Blaze is a little more longer than that because we know everybody is busy and has a lot going on, but we also wanted to give more time for maybe some more ambitious projects. When you only have 48 hours, of course, people just throw something together and it can be, just a very simple proof of concept. But we're hoping that teams will be able to deliver some substantial prototypes. Of course, it won't be a finished product, but a serious prototype. Since it is 8 days, of course, everybody should be aware that there's no extreme need to be downing energy drinks on day one. Obviously, make sure you stay well rested, well hydrated, and think of it as like a midterm, a middle distance race rather than just an all-out sprint. So again, on Saturday during the hackathon, on the second last day with 24 hours to go, we will also do a final sprint stream where we'll check in with some of the teams, maybe find out how they're doing. Again, obviously answer any questions or anything like that. Hear from the judges if they've been impressed or they've heard any rumors, that kind of thing. Then on Sunday, it will finish. And for the week, Monday the 24th until Saturday the 29th, the teams can all take a breather and relax after they've put in, so much effort during the hackathon. And then on the Saturday after that, while the judges have had time to pick their winners, then we will do a large showcase stream where we'll announce the winners of the prizes and of the bounties. And we'll also interview the teams to talk about their projects. People can do demos and show off what they've built and really just put themselves out there to the BCH community. Of course, people will be watching the stream from the BCH community. So there's a lot to be won in terms of not only the prizes and the bounties, but there is also a community choice prize. And you can obviously get more traction to that if you're showing off your project with an impressive demo. And of course, companies in the scene and investors are also watching the stream. So they will be able to see something that they think maybe has potential or a team that they like the look of. And then those connections will happen afterwards. So that's the very simple outline. We're doing this information stream today. And then tomorrow also, Jonathan is going to be on the BCH podcast where we'll talk a little bit more, like he was just saying there, about the vision and how he thinks it's been going and how it all came together. That won't be super in detail, but we will do a segment about Blaze there tomorrow. Any questions so far? Nope. Okay. All right. So how do you register? That's the main action point that we want people to take away from today's stream, which is the team size is 1 to 4 people, and registrations are open until October 31st. So for the rest of October, entry is totally free. And like I said before, you don't need to have anything prepared or any prior experience. You just need to be enthusiastic. That's the only thing you need. So you can go on dorahacks.io/hackathon/BCH Blaze 2025/detail. The link is on the slide and in the description. And from there, it guides you through setting up an account and joining up to the hackathon. Team sizes are 1 to 4 people, which means if you're feeling confident, you can, of course, hack on your own. If you think you would be better off with some teammates to help round out your skill set, or if you want to do it with some friends, it should be fun. Or if you're maybe already part of a company in the BCH ecosystem, you can do it with some of your co-workers. You can join a team of up to 4 people. So when you sign up and join, it doesn't put you explicitly into teams. That's just how DoraHacks works. But as long as you and everyone on your team has individually registered, then you'll be in a good spot for when the hackathon starts. They have these biddles, which are the actual submissions to the hackathon. And that is when everybody will be able to join up as a team. But you don't need to really prepare anything as a team in advance. You can also start your ideating in terms of thinking about the kind of project you would like to do, or practicing your BCH building skills now. You definitely don't have to wait until it starts on November 15th to get everything installed and set up for the first time. So if you want to do any practicing, you can, of course, start on it straight away. It's also allowed to use an existing project. So for instance, I'm one of the developers on Selene Wallet. And if I was going to enter, then maybe I could enter with some other people and we would do Selene Wallet. But as long as we were very clear that this is the Selene Wallet that we already had, and here was the sort of starting materials, and then this is the fresh new thing, like maybe an extension, a new feature, a new app flow, a new smart contract integration, something like that, that would be what we've done for the hackathon. And as long as we're very clear about that in our submission, then that's totally fine. You can start a brand new thing, which has no preparation, no branding, no code, nothing, and it's encouraged to do that. But for teams that are already working on a project and want to just add or extend or modify it, that's also fine, as long as you're clear that that's what you're doing. So, go ahead. Was that a question? Nope. Okay. So for the workshops, we're going to have 3 over the next weeks. Like I mentioned, it's every Saturday at 2 p.m. UTC. I can't stress that enough. Mathieu first, then Pat, and then Callisti, which is the only one that is on 6 p.m. UTC. It's going to be a roughly 2-hour session, similar to this one, where those guys will come on the stream and they'll show off, some of what they're building. They'll talk about how they're doing it, and they'll be available to answer any questions. They are going to be more focused on the technical integrations with BCH. Of course, all these guys are software developers, and as part of a hackathon, you do need to have some kind of software development as part of your submission. So it's more biased towards people with those skill sets, but we do encourage everyone, even if they are a designer or a product manager or so forth, to come and join those streams. Firstly, because nowadays it's getting easier and easier with AI to jump in and build some things yourself. So it might actually be surprising to people how quickly they could pick up and be involved in the actual software engineering aspect of it, but also for them to get a bit more insight into how things operate for the coding part of it. Even if you are not coding on a team, it's very helpful to know sort of the methods of working and the ways of communicating that software developers often use, which is also true for the software developers with the designers or other people. But for Blaze, at least this year, we're just focusing on the technical part of it. So that will really be helpful to anybody who wants to know how to build an actual smart contract on BCH and go from there. So attendance is not mandatory, but it is encouraged to be in the best position for the hackathon. We're going to record those streams just like we're recording this one. So if you're busy and you need to check in on it later, you can do that. But it is, highly encouraged for people. This is your Padawan training from the Jedi Masters.
I'll jump in here and say that if you do join for the live streams, it's an excellent opportunity to ask question and get kind of like direct feedback and be able to, get more details on the things that you care about. And if you don't come, then of course you can watch the live streams of the workshops afterwards, but you won't be able to ask any questions.
Yes, exactly. These guys are literal experts. They are some of the best people on the entire planet in this niche. So it's a rare and powerful opportunity to ask any questions or get any guidance on anything. It can be on the actual BCH development. It can be on technical development in general. It could be about how they have made their own projects or how they prefer to structure, how they like to work within a team. It could be an idea or a concept you have for the hackathon, and maybe they can give you some pointers in terms of, well, I would consider about architecting it this way, or perhaps refer you to these technical resources which might be useful for it. So you can be very broad in the advice that you would be able to get from them. That's not the only support and information we have. If you take a look on the next slide, we do have other resources for, we have our second cash stamps giveaway. Just give Jet sneakily trying to sabotage anyone else from grabbing that for himself. But
you got to be watching live. You got to pause it immediately. Oh.
I saw Sadiq HRH said he'd acclaimed the first one successfully. So shout out to Sadiq. But I literally did not even realize the second cash stamp one was coming up. Okay, anyway, like I was saying, we do also have further resources on the next slide. So if you go on the Dora Hacks page, you will be able to find a resources tab, and we have a big list there of a lot of the products and services, the code, the tooling libraries, documentation, all of that stuff that you will need for building things in BCH. So like I mentioned, it can be hard if you're joining the community for the first time, or you're not used to building in BCH. You don't know where are the main things that people use to actually get the job done. And there's loads of information there that you can find. Of course, you can also reach out to us at Blaze in general. The workshops is a good time, but at any time as well, either in the lead up or during the event. There is a questions tab on Dora Hacks. You can submit questions there. You can talk to us in Telegram, in the Telegram group, which is at BCH Blaze, and also on Twitter, which is also at BCH Blaze. You can tag that account or send a DM if you have a question or concern or whatever. So there's plenty of help available. And of course, it's not directly related to Blaze, but as part of being in the ecosystem, it's good if you have some idea of what's going on, because there's always fresh announcements of new tooling coming out. You could, of course, stay on top of the discussion around Blaze and upcoming schedule and events. So for that, I recommend the Bitcoin Cash podcast, bitcoincashpodcast.com, or just subscribe to this channel if you're watching right now, and the BCH Bullet, which is a weekly newsletter, bchbullet.substack.com, which has highlights of what's going on in BCH so that you can follow along very easily if you don't have all day, every day to be down the rabbit hole listening to 2-hour podcasts and so forth. Okay, so the hacking period itself, like I mentioned, begins on Saturday, 15th of November at 2 p.m. UTC. So everybody will have been trained up with the workshops. They've had any questions answered. They've found their teams, and you have 8 days to hack. There are 2 live streams, like I said, during the hacking period. There is the opening live stream where we'll talk to the judges, interview some of the teams that are maybe wanting to, hype up their product before they built it, or talk some smack about rival teams, or whatever they want to do, help out with any questions. And like I mentioned, building on existing project is allowed. So we really do want it to be that whether you're a brand new team or you're an existing team and you already have, you know, your sprints planned out and you have deliverables that you need to get through, well, maybe you can find something that would fit nicely into that window and set that aside for yourself to build as part of Blaze, because you can also get some free publicity and potentially win prizes and so forth for doing it as well too. So that's maximizes the ability for everyone to be involved. Of course, the whole thing is run online. I didn't mention that before, but wherever you are in the world, the streams obviously happen at a time which is more or less convenient depending on where you are in the world. But to the extent you can make it, that's great. And the participation in the live streams, like I said, is not mandatory. So if you have to catch them on recording, then that's also fine. So then we have the final live stream, which will be on Saturday, the 22nd. That is with 24 hours left in the stream, in the hackathon hacking period. So that will be the final opportunity to kind of check in with any questions. We'll get maybe some impressions from the judges and from Jonathan as to how things are going, or any projects maybe they have their eye on closely. And for the teams, that will really be like your notification that probably time to stop adding new things or doing anything crazy. Time to start just refining what you've got down to its final form and making sure that you have your submission completely under control. All right, next slide. We've got one more cash dance. I can see Nurain, he had his phone ready. This man was not gonna miss. He grabbed it. That's it. And I think you have an advantage.
No, I think we're gonna pay it forward. I got this. When I got this.
Well played, Nurain. Well played. Amazing. And that's the advantage of being on the live stream in the call. You know, I think you can get it maybe quicker than the delay on the stream. So yeah, well done, Nurain. Okay, so like I said, we've got the submission requirements. This is what you will actually need to submit. There is a project presentation template that I have made, which is available on the Dora Hacks resources tab. We'll look at that in just a moment. And so you need to have that submitted as part of your BIDL, and it needs a link to GitHub or GitLab or some kind of source repository of some kind. So the only requirements are that you have a project presentation. We'll look at that in just a moment. That you have a link to the GitHub code, and that you use at least one of the Layla chips that we mentioned: loops, PayToScript, Bitwise, and functions. Once again, the workshops is a brilliant time if you need detail or clarity on any of those to ask about it. So Jet, maybe if you can just switch over to Widget Factory, which is the template for the presentation. Okay, so this is of course just a dummy template that I have made, but everybody can go on this and copy it in Google Slides. You know, you can just make a copy, make a duplicate. And for your project, you just fill out this template. It's very short. It's only, I think, what, 6 or 7 slides? It's 7 slides. And all you need to do is just replace the different elements. So on the first slide, obviously you have there the title, Widget Factory. So you put the title of your project, you write your team name. If you have some links that you've created around that project, you can put them there. If not, just delete those. You can put a nice little image. Then on the first slide, you just give it your one-line pitch, right? You've just got to impress the judges straight away, summarize it down, not even your 30-second pitch, your 3-second pitch. What is it? So in this example, it's automatically creating BCH widgets, and then you have a link to the code. Then there's a slide with the story of your project. Either put a photo of your team maybe, or a screenshot of your app, or a logo, whatever you want, on the right side. And then on the left side, you've got to give a little bit of color. You know, you want the judges and people watching the streams to be kind of invested in your project. You know, if you've ever seen Shark Tank or any of those investing shows, they will always give a little spiel about, you know, where is the company from, or who's involved, or how they came up with the idea. And these kind of things are really important, because even for judges or investors who are very, very technical, they're also interested in the people behind the project, because ultimately the people involved will make a project successful or not. So they pay very close attention to a story that is evocative and can capture their interest, or that makes sense to them. Like, this is a, you know, a unique insight, or this is a team that I can really back or see potential in, even potentially for a different idea to the one that they've originally pitched. Maybe they want to work with them on changing it in some way. So that story part can actually get you a long way, but just keep it simple to one slide, just a couple of sentences, and you should be able to fill this out, you know, maybe just in that last day before the submission deadline. But while you're working on your project, you should also be thinking and talking with your team members as well about how to make a compelling story in only a couple of sentences. So this would be your 30-second elevator pitch. Then we have a slide with the benefits. Of course, this gives you a chance to expand on the actual feature set of your product. Why would people need this ultimately? Why would it be valuable? Why would they potentially be willing to pay money for it, right? So just some very quick dot points. Again, keep it really simple. You don't need to write an entire, you know, War and Peace novel about everything that your product can or could do. Just keep it to what are the main highlights that make your thing critical and attractive to consumers or users. You see I have here like 10x less frustration with missing widgets. If there's some way that you can measure like the speed that you'll improve something, or even just projected efficiency gains, or you know, business potential for profit, anything like that, you know, the size of the target market that you're looking at, whatever it is, some statistics, even just one or two can go a long way here. Okay, on the fifth slide, we have the Layla example. So like I said, one of the very few requirements is that you need to use one of these new Layla features. Of course, this year we have loops and factories and functions rather, which are quite generic. So almost any kind of project should be able to include, you know, one of those. Bitwise and Pay2Script are a little more specialized, but certainly every project should be able to have some kind of use of the Layla upgrades. So just throw in a screenshot with a section of your code or a short explanation or something about what was the Layla upgrade used for. This is also if, of course, you're technically creative or you do something very interesting or critical to your app, then that will also get the judges to focus in on that part of your app. So you can be strategic about what you want to highlight. Then there is kind of one last slide, which is the vision for your project. Obviously, we understand that Blaze is just a hackathon. You're making a prototype, or at best an MVP, but probably more like a half-built, you know, prototype. It's not going to be a polished product, and it's not going to have everything that you can ever dream of inside of it. So you have an opportunity here to kind of expand on the story. You know, the story is how it starts. The benefits is, you know, the immediate value. And then the vision is, if you had more time, more money, more resources, more connections, where would this project go? You know, what would you build? What would be the next major feature you would want to have, perhaps? Or if you had extra budget, like where would you want to allocate that? For instance, I have here widget, conferences, and promotion. And also like a final target with a deadline can be very handy. So I have here 10 million widgets per day by 2030. But for whatever your project is, just like in the successful case that everything goes great, dream big and just let people know what you're aiming for, because this is also very important to potential investors or collaborators, because they will want to see if they can see some potential in something. The next thing they want to think is, okay, I can kind of see where this is going, but what's the big picture? And that's your chance to sell it to them. So overall, that is, then we just got one slide. Thank you. You don't need to change that. You can just leave that as it is. So you really just need a very quick 6-slide summary for your submission, and you should be able to fill that out in about 20 minutes or half an hour as you're coming to the end of the hackathon. Okay, so we have a slide here about how the judging works as well too. So in that week, everybody can chill out and relax after maybe a slightly stressful, hopefully not too stressful, but hopefully also not too chilled out week hacking on your project. You will be able to relax while the judges review everything. And we'll finish that period with a showcase Saturday on the 29th of November at 2 p.m. We'll announce the results, both of the judged prizes, which we'll talk about, and the sponsor bounties as well. Like I mentioned, you can show off your project, what you have built, and you'll notice that since you already have the slides that you made for Blaze, you can also use that in your demo to just help yourself out as you are talking on the stream. You can just kind of run through the slides, maybe do a quick demo, that kind of thing. Of course, like I said, the judges will have their opinions, but there will also be the possibility that you might get, investment or collaborators or interest from people who are not directly involved in Blaze or who are watching online. So that's a great chance to get your project and your skills out there. You could potentially be hired into the ecosystem or whatever. So that's your chance to do that and show off what you've done. Then Blaze is finished. That's it. It will be finishing the 29th of November. So that kind of wraps us up for the year. And then in December, everybody is going to be, tuning out and going on holidays, having Christmas with their family and everything like that. So Blaze kind of runs through until that 29th. And then once it's over, it's over. However, BCH obviously never sleeps. It goes 24/7. Christmas or not. So we will be helping people on the next slide there to carry their project forward. We have 2 initiatives in that regard. One is from BCH1, which is one of our sponsors that will be running in January of 2026. They call it a Hackcelerator. And the idea is to find promising projects in the BCH ecosystem, especially from Blaze, maybe the winners or maybe not, everyone will be considered, to assist with funding and growth. I happen to know, I don't think I can reveal now, but I know they have a decent sized pot of funding to give out. And they also have connections to people in the scene as well as potential future investors. So they will be running a program in January that will help people take their prototypes from Blaze and then really expand and iterate on them and potentially move them forward to actually founding a company and doing an investment round, maybe giving them a small initial grant, but with contingencies for future things and introductions to investors. So, don't underestimate your project is what I'm trying to say. Blaze is a chance to be wild and creative. That's what a hackathon is about. But if you do a good job and if you are impressive with that, then it won't stop there, right? It will help you get onboarded into the BCH ecosystem, and you can potentially start a full company around it and build a product. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, like I mentioned, is Bliss, which will be in May of 2006. It's a conference. It will be in Europe. The exact location is to be announced, but it will be in Europe. And teams that have won in Blaze or have been promising from BCH1 or have just in general impressed us with their team, we will also help and support to come to Bliss, so that then, that being in May, you will have had January, February, March, April to be iterating on your project, maybe advancing it, maybe finding some initial customers or working on your beta, whatever. And then at Bliss, we're hoping to help people have a bit of a platform to give their 1.0 announcement. You know, like we're really ready to open to the public with all that preparation in advance. So that's also a great place to meet the other investors in the scene and other people who are building to find talent or to be scouted and recruited for various BCH initiatives. And also it's just a ton of fun. So I'm really hoping that everyone will be able to get involved in that too. Jonathan, did you have something to say about this?
Even if you don't have a version 1.0 to make a release about, Blitz is it's a really good place to find more talent and find more resources. So maybe you gotten some progress, but you realize like, hey, we're missing this kind of role in our team. Then going to Bliss lets you network in ways that reaches high quality talent at a fairly low cost. And we, of course, will do our best to help everyone who comes to get the most benefit out of coming as they can.
Yes, absolutely. And you'll have a blast. Either way, I promise you, every single person that comes to Bliss in person for the last 2 years, this will be the 3rd edition of it, has had like the best time. So I look forward to meeting you all in person there as well too. Okay, so that gets us to the real thing that everybody cares most about, which is the prizes and bounties. So there is actually 4 sort of separate ways that you can earn BCH directly being part of Blaze. So the first one is the prizes. So we have an expert panel of John Yeri, Callan Culianu, and Josh Ellithorpe, who will be judging the general prizes, which will be first place overall, according to the judgment of those 3 judges, will win 5 BCH. Second place will win 3 BCH, and third place will win 1 BCH. So any of those is a pretty substantial funding boost for on top of already the experience of building at Blaze and all the hacking and support and so forth. There is also going to be, separately to that, a community choice prize of 1 BCH. And the way that we're going to run that is that we are going to airdrop a Blaze Vote cash token to all of the Jessica and Velma Bliss ticket holders. I think maybe they'll get, we'll see exactly, but maybe 5 or 10 Blaze Vote tokens each. So the people who attended Bliss in the previous years or who grabbed a NFT ticket online are then going to be the representatives of the heavily invested and involved BCH community. And so they will have the Blaze Vote token, and during Blaze, they will be able to send votes to their favorite projects, you know, which they can divide however they choose, or in fact, I guess they could even sell them on Cauldron, whatever they want to do with it. If you are involved in Blaze and you happen to have some Jessicas or Velmas, you are, of course, allowed to vote for yourself. There's no way that we can police or stop that, and we don't want to. And that's just partially a benefit of being involved in Bliss. Bliss likes to have a lot of, you know, ongoing benefits to people that reward us by coming to Bliss and being involved. You know, that's one way of us giving back. So to win over the community choice, of course, that will be, I think, a heavily contested category, and whoever has the most Blaze vote tokens by probably the end of the showcase stream, that will be the team that wins the 1 BCH. So you can appeal to the expert judges or the community or both. There's no mutual exclusion. You know, you can win multiple prizes or bounties or what have you. There's no reason that if you get one, you can't get another. There's no separate categories, nothing like that. Okay, as well as the prizes that are offered by Blaze itself, we also have bounties offered by sponsors. So we already have 8 bounties live, and if you go on the Dora Hacks page, you will be able to see that on the bounties tab. We have one for each of the 4 upgrades from Layla. So the best use of those, which will be 0.1 BCH to each of the projects that does the best use of each of the individual upgrades, judged by Jason Dreisner, the author of all of those upgrades himself. So winning that would also be quite prestigious as well. And we have already 4 other bounties available, which you can read up on there. Each of them has a spec which describes what is the bounty about, you know, what is the sponsor looking for, how are they going to judge it, what they need, etc. And so if you don't have an idea for a project that you want to do for Blaze, you can look at those and maybe get inspired to do it. And of course, it's possible to win a bounty and also win a prize. So you could be the second prize overall and also win a bounty, right? It is encouraged to talk to the sponsors who have put up those bounties. That's why they've done it. They do want to meet you and talk to you about your enthusiasm and your interest. If you have any questions about the bounties or anything like that, then you can reach out to them. Of course, be sensible. They do want to hear from you, but also they are generally very busy people. So, you know, make sure that you've read through the requirements and thought about it seriously before going to talk to them with any extra information that you need. And if you also want to offer a bounty, if you're watching this live stream and you feel like you would also like to encourage hackers at Blaze to build a project that you had in mind, then you can get in contact with me and we'll find a way to get the spec ready and list that up. Now, besides those existing 3 methods, the prizes, the community choice, and the bounties, you can also put a QR code on your project for donations. Every single project that is submitted to Blaze is encouraged to put a QR code and a BCH address, maybe in the footer of their project or somewhere that, you know, makes sense. That serves 2 functions. Firstly, it will let you get Blaze votes for the community choice. People will be able to find your project and just scan it and send you their votes. And the second thing is that you could potentially get donations of BCH or other cash tokens from people who are impressed by a project. And of course, that's just part of how BCH works. Anybody can send money to anyone peer-to-peer over the internet. So of course, take advantage of that. And that's also another reason to do a good job presenting on the live stream, because you might be able to impress people and get donations there. Finally, so these are the initial prizes, the sort of minimum that is backed by Blaze, but some people have asked me, you know, where can they contribute? They also want to boost the prize pool as well. So we are offering that. On the next slide, we have the QR code for donations. So if you are watching this stream and you think, you know, Blaze is a great initiative, you want to encourage people to participate and you want to pump up the prize pool, any money sent into this address will be split 50% across those prizes, first, second, third, and the community choice. So it will already pump up the prize pool there, and we'll also use some of that money for running Blaze, of course. So if we get any massive donations, it will pump up the prize pool, and we'll also maybe be able to find ways to expand Blaze, potentially even offer a new category of prizes, that kind of thing. But that is open to the public. So for people who want to contribute to Blaze, that's one way you can do it. And the same with the QR code that is on the side of the live stream. So we will announce as the prize pool increases. All right, next slide we have is another cash stamp. Nirain was not so quick on the trigger this time. So maybe somebody else will have the chance to get that. We have a question in the chat from Sadiq HRH. He says, or he or she says, are there any specific niches to focus on, or can we build anything as long as it's within the BCH ecosystem? And the answer is build whatever you want. There is no requirements except for the ones that we said earlier, which is you need to fill out the project template, you need to provide a link to the code, and you need to use at least one of the Layla upgrades. So besides those three requirements, let your imagination run wild. Anything that you can imagine, anything that you have the skills to build, or that you feel you could make a go at building and perhaps get some help to polish up, go for it. You know, if you think it would be useful, if you're seeing a problem in the world that people need solved, which BCH can fix, just crack on with it, really. If you don't have any ideas, of course, you can check the bounties. Maybe you get inspired by one of them. And of course, if you're the only person who builds a project for a bounty, you'll be in a pretty good position to win it. So that is one strategy. But of course, you can also, you know, ask us for ideas. You can ask AI. I found is actually DoraHacks has a feature that lets you generate up potential ideas as well too. So there's plenty of ways to get an idea. The value is never in the idea; it's always in the execution. But pick something that you find exciting and interesting, and go from there. Okay, that's the core of everything that we needed to say, I believe. I'm just double checking that we've covered everything. Of course, if you have questions, you can go on the DoraHacks questions tab, or on Twitter at BCH Blaze, and on Telegram. Do we have any other questions from the group that is live here?
I have a question.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
with the workshops, I'm asking because I actually don't know here. I'm not trying to
Not trying to seed the discussion.
Yeah,
a plant, you're a plant.
Everyone doing a workshop is mainly a JavaScript developer, right? So is there going to be any resources for people who want to do something in another programming language?
Yes, that's a great question. So the answer is that, of course, yes, the people who are doing the workshops are mostly in JavaScript, and we expect, JavaScript being the most popular programming language in the world, that most of the participants will also be interested in doing JavaScript. So that's why it is that way. That said, there's no reason that you have to build in JavaScript. Most of the tooling in the ecosystem is also JavaScript focused. So that might be a little bit of a hindrance if you are doing another language, but it's also an opportunity. For instance, if you are interested in Python or Rust or C++, you could be the one to build that first essential tooling that lets people integrate with BCH, or that helps people compile smart contracts, or that offers documentation on ways to trial a different programming language. In the end, BCH needs to be accessible to all the major programming languages. There are, of course, some BCH builders that use, I know, C++ for sure, Python as well there, and C, yeah. So if you are interested in one of those other languages, there's no reason that you can't be involved, and we would love that. And actually, it would be very impressive for anybody that does projects in those other languages. The workshops will be, of course, focused on JavaScript, but not purely that. I know that Callisti, for instance, quite likes his PHP. They'll be talking about doing the smart contract and the scripting stuff as well. And if we get people who are interested or who are asking after another language, we might be able to find an expert to help them out with that language as well too. So we definitely encourage every language, but for the sake of the majority, we're starting on JavaScript. Jonathan, any thoughts?
Yeah. So actually, for Blaze, since you're going to need to use things from the coming upgrade, I think this is actually one of the few cases where non-JavaScript tooling is actually not necessarily a bad choice. Because even if you're going with the tried and trusted, the largest in the ecosystem, they are not going to have mature implementations. Because again, like on November 15 at lock-in, that's when we know what features are actively going to go into effect. And so people have not built all the tooling ahead of time. So no matter what language you use or what tooling you use, there might be some degree of going down to the gutters and dealing with like the cache virtual machine directly. And that works in practically any language.
Yes. Nirain, did you have a question?
Yeah. So my one is basically, I think you've covered most of the question I wanted to ask, but just to push it out there for people, I think most people have no idea how big BCH Blaze is, because this is one opportunity, right? I think it's a lifetime opportunity, an opportunity that will get you closer to building something really impactful, right, in the Web3 space. So think of most of the things you see currently today in the Bitcoin Cash ecosystems. If you look at years back, some of them are from a hackathon. Do you understand? Because I could remember 2021 when the last hackathon happened. We've seen solutions like Petaka, which is now one of the biggest wallets in the ecosystem. We've seen solutions like Purely Pair, which is now an app functioning. Do you understand? So this is a chance for you to build something that people will use and for you to be part of history. So I think for all people that are willing to, that have already subscribed, already been a hacker on Blaze, please try. Blaze is now open, formally open. Please try in as much as possible, submit a solution, submit your ideas. You might not know your idea will be the next big thing, might be the next unicorn, it might be the next super app we need in the Bitcoin Cash ecosystem. So please, this is just like a word of encouragement to all people that are maybe trying to see how Blaze will be. Like you said, the price pool, this is not going to be it's not going to be like $5,000, maybe more. I'm very sure we'll have more before the end of Blaze. I'm very sure. I trust the BCH community. So definitely we'll have more of the pool price. So guys, please, let's do this. And regarding of tools, I think this is something that we've been pushing, right? If you can see, I'm wearing a cash script.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is something that we've been always pushing. You understand, people to write codes on learn cash scripts, and we've done quite a few workshops. And over the past few weeks, we've done info session, and I think it's been amazing. So I'm very, very happy, super pumped. Can't wait to see when the solution started rolling in. So I'm very, very happy on this. So let's do this, guys.
Yes, amazing. Exactly. That's the exact attitude. And there you go. You can see, with Cash Crypto Arena, the BCH community has all kinds of friendly, helpful experts like Nirain, who we can put you in touch with. And I'm actually looking forward to, I'm hoping, Nirain, I'm looking forward to your project, seeing what you build at Blaze as well, too. Do we have any other questions? I'm just checking the live chat right now. All right, on the next slide then, we have to, of course, give a word to our sponsors. These are the ones who are making it happen. We have BCH Bull, a unique web application allowing users to take long positions with leverage or hedge with BCH against a number of other metals, fiat, and crypto assets at bchbull.com. General Protocols, who are the builders for BCH Bull, who pride themselves on developing permissionless, trustless, borderless financial solutions for the whole world, working at the frontier of UTXO blockchain development. Check them out at generalprotocols.com. The Bitcoin Cash podcast for the latest cryptocurrency and Bitcoin Cash news with deep dives on BCH topics featuring a variety of guests from the BCH community at bitcoincashpodcast.com. Celine Wallet to put easy, no hassle, instant payments in the palm of your hand. Experience the future of money, a global digital economy powered by BCH. Celine.cash. Cash Stamps, who you've potentially already grabbed some funds from, allows users to create and redeem BCH for gifts, promotion, and adoption of Bitcoin Cash at stamps.cash. We also have the Blockchain for Good Alliance, who harness the transformative power of blockchain technology to tackle some of the most critical challenges facing societies and the world at large today. linktr.ee/blockchain for good alliance. BCH1, who I mentioned we will be referring people to in January, is the signal layer for Bitcoin Cash, community discovery, builder velocity, and capital alignment at bch1-1.org. And Big Hair Tom, an old timer that wants wallet addresses simplified, with a nice guru NFT picture there. And we also have a couple of other anonymous sponsors who will not mention, who chose to fade into the background, but we thank them very much as well for their support of Blaze and the community. Okay, next slide. We have one final cash stamp for whoever is quick enough to grab that. Thanks to Steve Thurmond for providing us with those. And then we just have some final reminders. So you can register, of course, on Dora Hacks. That is the main call to action. You can listen to the BCH podcast tomorrow, Sunday the 19th at 11 a.m. UTC. Jonathan will be on with me to discuss a little bit more about Blaze and also catch up with the latest going on in BCH. The first workshop will be 1 week from now on Saturday, October the 25th at 2 p.m. UTC with Matthew Kierkins of Cash and Eyes Wallet, CashScript, Parity USD. He does a lot of stuff in the ecosystem. He's a great guy, and yeah, there's plenty always to learn from him. Of course, we have the calendar slide from before, so you can find that also on the Dora Hacks page and add all those dates to your calendar so you stay plugged in to Blaze. And you can follow Blaze on Twitter and Telegram at BCH Blaze, and the BCH Bullet at the bchbullet.substack.com to keep up with the BCH ecosystem. Jonathan, did you have any final words you wanted to make sure everyone was on top of?
No, I'm just looking forward to seeing all the hackers register and then later going through all the submission. It's going to be really interesting.
Yes, we're thrilled to find out. This is, of course, the first year of Blaze, so it is an adventure for us as much as it is for you. We do have things prepared and planned, but ultimately it is the hackers that make a hackathon. So we're very excited to see what comes out of this first experiment in BCH community. And like I said, in taking projects that show potential, either from the judges or from our own opinion or from community response as well to projects that a lot of people get interested and excited about. We will be helping as much as we can to get traction rolling in terms of promotion and investment money, in terms of BCH1, in terms of coming to Bliss. So it really is, like Nirain mentioned, the prize pool is kind of just the start. That's maybe an incentive to jump in and be involved in Blaze initially, right off the bat. But if you do something powerful and important or interesting, exciting, with potential, things will go from there. And we're going to do everything we can to make that happen. Okay, I think that is pretty much it. One final opportunity for any last questions. And if not, we will wrap it up there. We'll be back next week, same time, like I said, Saturday, 2 p.m. UTC with the Matthew Kjerkens workshop. See you then.
All right. Fade to black.
Fade to black.